I want what God wants for me in my life. I want to live a fruitful life here and later when I get to heaven. But we have to be realistic about what we're doing in the present to make sure that we are in alignment of what God needs for him to operate effectively in our life. If we're constantly choosing detrimental decisions and not reading his word and not committing ourselves to him, we can't expect these magnificent and wonderful results based off of us not spending time with him, right? We get in these situations sometimes and we wonder, God, where are you? What happened? And God says, you never let me in the first round. You never let me in the beginning of the problem. You never let me in when you were starting out, and now you want to call on me when things are hard, when things are rough, when you've already disheveled and ruined everything that I tried to set up for you. So let's be mindful about when we're letting God in, how we let him in, if we're letting him in, and what are we doing to show our consistency and our love and our dedication to him, right? We can't just call on his name every so often and then we never pray, we never devote ourselves to his word and try to get to understand him. I feel like a lot of us live in such a one-sided relationship with God where we're constantly asking him for things, we're constantly begging him to help us, yet we're never trying to get to know who he is and what he wants for our lives. We're never allowing him to change our desires, and so we're constantly falling into seeking these pleasures all the time and then begging God to clean it up. And I think we need to start inviting God in the beginning of our situation, in the beginning of our circumstance, before we make that decision, and dying to ourselves and saying, you know what? God, help me. I'm not going to make this decision because I know that you want better for me. I know this will result in spiritual death. I know this won't be beneficial for me. We can't keep making decisions and then asking for forgiveness later and asking for him to clean it up. We need to make better decisions in our life so he can work in his full capacity um, when it's time, when it's beneficial, when it's ready. And not to say that God can't clean it up, right? But when we constantly, it's all about the heart. And when we constantly have this, I'll just do this and then I'll ask for forgiveness. I'll just do that and then I will ask God to fix it. When we constantly let him in the round when it's too late. And I use that loosely because God is such a merciful and magnificent um, omnipotent being that doesn't operate on this like unilateral law of this equals that and that equals this. He doesn't operate on this basis. There's principles to life that we should adhere to, but God is merciful and gracious, and he gives us grace in situations that we don't deserve. But I do think that some of us, in the Bible, it says, my people fail because of lack of knowledge. And some of us, we don't take the time to learn who God is. We don't take the time to change our hearts and change our desires, to have him change our hearts and change our desires. And we just live down this reckless path and keep sporadically calling on him, and it's just not beneficial, and we're not satisfied, and we lead this lukewarm life. And that's why God says in Revelation, is like, this lukewarm church, I spit it out, because it is just so hurtful to be, for the church to be lukewarm, right? It's not productive. It's silly. It's this false relationship with God that's not even genuinely there. And I say, whatever you believe in, dig into that. Ask for knowledge, ask for wisdom. Whatever you believe in, dig your feet in deep and you will find the truth. Whatever it is, commit yourselves. Commit yourselves to your beliefs today in your life so that you can understand them and not live down this path of just wandering without even really committing to something, right? It's so beneficial to understand what you believe. It's so beneficial to live in a way that you die to your pleasures. And it's nice to indulge in some pleasures sometimes, right? Like, it's nice to order out and get a food that you like, to watch a movie, to rub your feet together in your bed and to sleep in a little longer. But when we don't understand what overindulgence and pleasures is, and what discipline is, and balance is, then we lead a life of it's just in array. It's just in disarray, and it doesn't help us. It doesn't feel good. It feels chaotic. We're not stable when we live a life that's just constantly indulging in pleasures and asking for God to clean it up. So let's be honest with ourselves. Let's lay it out. Let's make better decisions, and definitely commit ourselves to what we believe in and follow those principles and see where it gets us. And if it's a little too, if it's not working out too well, I would say to really analyze what you believe in and see if it's beneficial for you. I think going through years of dabbling in different types of beliefs and spirituality for myself, and really committing myself to different beliefs and spirituality, has really showed me the truth in the gospel and who God is and in the Bible, and developed my relationship with him based on truth and knowledge and understanding, and not just based on a feeling in the moment of I'm going to make this bad decision and then God help me. It's not this lukewarm surface level relationship. It's so much more deeper than that. I always say, if you like self-help books, the Bible is the ultimate self-help that you can do for yourself, because it touches base on every single topic that you can possibly think of. And it just has so much more information than you can possibly digest. And if you think you know it all, then you probably have stopped learning, because there's different revelation in every text that we get. And if you want a relationship with God, if you say you have a relationship with God, stand on that, but mean that. Study his word, understand him. It's not just a surface level thing. It's not a joke. It's not something that we should take lightly. Let's live a good life. Let's adhere to his word. Let's be mindful of what is written, and make sure that we're not living out of alignment with what is true, and asking God to help us and save us and fix us when we never have truly let him in. And it's a one-sided relationship, because we're putting all of our burdens and worries and troubles on him, but we're never understanding who he is and allowing him to change us. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good life because you can. Commit yourself to what you believe in. Dig your feet in and find out truth.